Good morning. I'm creating or making this video because there's been so many inquiries online about learning sleep technology. And some of these inquiries are on the fence. They're not sure whether should I hear it's dying. I hear that there's no future in sleep. People are getting out of sleep, etc. So all these negative statements and presumptions about sleep technology or sleep as a medicine as a whole. And I hate to say it, but you're wrong, because this is the perfect time to get into sleep technology for those who are wanting to become sleep techs. Why? For one, the sleep medicine is undergoing a major shift in how things are done. Why? Because of technology, right? Developments in sleep technology are in masses, right? There's a ton of new items, new things. And I can tell you that how sleep were done in the past, especially on the technical perspective, like how you run sleep studies and how you score or read sleep studies and how patients are getting diagnosed or even treated, all of that are changing. It doesn't mean that we're wiping out the older technology. Okay, it just means that we are adding more, innovating, and making things even better, in a sense that it's easier to access, it's easier to do, simply because technology now, as you all know, is directly affected by the artificial intelligence, right? That technology, that boom, that boost of development. So what do I mean? First, what are the changes in the diagnosis, the patient's diagnosis? Well, I was just meeting with a rep last week, and he showed me this new device. It's called Onera Health. So you can look it up. But Onera Health, this device is meant to not only diagnose the patient by finding out if the patient has obstructive apnea, because that already exists now with home sleep apnea testing kits, right? People get it. They even get it at home, and they watch a video on how to apply it, and then they usually come with a nasal cannula, a respiratory belt, and then a finger probe to measure your oxygen levels. But now the newer ones don't even have any cannulas, like the watch pad, right? You just put it on your wrist, and there's a finger probe, and then there's another sensor that goes towards your chest to monitor the breathing, basically the effort. All right, now there are newer devices called Night Owl and Sunrise V2, and now this Onera Health. There's others in the work for sure. But these devices are also for sleep apnea detection. But the Night Owl is as small as a Scrabble chip, and you tape it on your finger, and it monitors you overnight. It can identify whether you are losing oxygen. It can calculate whether you have an apnea or a hypopnea index. So it's very amazing, right? The other ones, the one on your chin, that's called Sunrise version 2 or Sunrise V2. Since it's on your chin, it can also monitor muscle tone aside from the oxygen levels, right? And so it can identify oxygen desaturation index and estimate apnea hypopnea index, as well as identify whether the patient is in REM or non-REM sleep. All right, check that out. Now there's even more, right? There's more devices like the Onera Health. This devices is being developed. There's additional clinical studies that are being done so they can get FDA approval. But this device It comes with a full package, but these devices are home sleep testing kits uh, um, based on the older platform, but these devices are meant to be applied by the patients themselves. These devices have stickers on it, so you attach it to yourself. But it monitors brain activities, it monitors chin or muscle tone, it monitors breathing, it monitors even leg movements, everything with stickers and sensors. It's very simple looking, and I think these devices are game changers in the field of sleep technology. It doesn't mean that the patients do not have to come into the sleep lab at all, because the patients that are suffering from sleep apnea with additional syndromes or diseases or disorders, they cannot just be seen with a home sleep testing kits. They need to be seen with an overnight comprehensive sleep study, because they require many other sensors to figure out what else is going on with them. For instance, patients with hypoventilation syndrome, patients with COPD, patients with heart failure, doing a home sleep apnea at home is not enough, because the home sleep apnea, again, testing kits, they are meant for obstructive apnea patients only. These other patients who have what they call comorbidity or additional diseases require additional sensors to identify how much more worse they are, and it will help determine how the doctors will approach their clinical management. So, but again, also they're not just doctors seeing these patients. They're also what we call APPs, or advanced practice providers, or advanced practitioners, namely nurse practitioners and physician's assistants. So they are also in sleep medicine, and they see their own patients. Anyway, sorry for digressing. With all these technologies coming into the pike, there's more. In fact, getting into the diagnosis space, where patients might not require an overnight sleep study, because they can be scanned during the day for a few minutes and be identified as an obstructive sleep apnea patient, or at least have high risk for apnea. These patients can get into therapy quickly without undergoing overnight sleep studies. But again, there are also many patients that require overnight sleep studies. The whole point is that the field is growing in access to patients, access to patient diagnosis, right? So many more patients will get diagnosed. And so on that note, there are also many advancement in technology as far as treatment is concerned, such as additional neurostimulation devices to treat apnea, obstructive and central. There are also tongue muscle neurostimulator to enhance the opening of the upper airway throughout the night. So all these new developments in the treatment coincide with the advancement in the diagnosis. So when you open up technology from diagnostics to treatment, that increases the ability to see more patients. And the point is that we can never really finish seeing all these patients, because the estimated number of patients that are suffering from apnea is at 1 billion globally. So with these new technologies, it will only enhance the ability to see more patients, but also it will help with the development of the field itself. So now let me gather my thoughts back and go towards the initial subject, which is this field dying? So as you can hear now, it's quite the opposite. The field is not dying, it's actually improving. It's just changing. So it's morphing into more technological advancement, but meaning to say the definition of a sleep tech will be changing. because we used to be the people who will do the manual work. We are the ones who will attach the electrodes, the sensors, the wires, monitor the patients all night, or give the patients these devices so that they can use it at home. We educate the patients, right? So we also gather the equipments back, and then we download the data, then we help read the studies. We help the doctors identify and tag the events, the desaturations, the snoring, the leg movements. So we prepare the study for the doctors. However, with all these AI developments, newer technologies that the patients can self-apply, the sleep techs will not lose jobs. We will change jobs, okay? It will change the definition of being a sleep tech. For instance, we will be the ones doing, in the future, QA, right? We will look into the download studies, or we will still read and help identify if the systems are actually accurate or not. So we will do a lot of QA. We will be the ones educating the patients pre and post study, and even the clinical management of the patients. We will be included in that because sleep is not a super simple medicine. It's actually quite the opposite, right? There's a lot of parameters that are needed to be discussed with the patients, like their sleep architecture, their sleep hygiene, their apnea index, and we won't be getting into the medication simply because we are not advanced practitioners, but techs will be involved heavily in the diagnosis and the treatment application and or the clinical management of the patients. Now, they are also developing examinations for licensures to help with these changing roles, okay? And I want to leave it there simply because we don't want to get too deep into the other parts of being a sleep tech. That will be in a different discussion. The point of the matter is that the sleep technology field is not dying, it's just shifting, it's changing. And so for those who are not in sleep technology yet, this is the perfect time to get in. If you have a background in allied health, then you can switch to polysomnography, doing OJT stuff, or you can do your own modules. If you are non-clinician, no medical background, no allied health profession, but you have a high school diploma, you can also get into taking modules and start by taking what they call a CPSGT, Charlie Papa Sierra Tango, CPSGT, Certified Sleep Tech. And you can take that online, finish it, and then you attend a 2-week course in an actual sleep lab that's accredited. And then you can start work. You challenge the exam. It's a short exam, and then you will be considered as a certified sleep tech and start working. After then, you will have less than, I think, 2 to 3 years to become an RPSGT, a registered technologist. You need to challenge the RPSGT exam, meaning you can get into sleep technology as a CPSGT, but eventually you will need to be registered as a sleep technologist with an RPSGT credential or license. So it's really easy, especially if you live in the United States, getting into sleep. But if you live abroad in Canada or different in Asia, Africa, so you can get into sleep also and get the American license of RPSGT, because that's pretty much accepted globally. So I don't want to digress anymore. If you have any questions, please put your comments in. But yes, please welcome, come all into sleep technology. This is Kem from Night Shift Academy. Peace.